Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, a little higher up. I received a call in early November from Ann Epdegraff-Spleth, our COO of Kiwanis International Foundation, and she said, trip of a lifetime, how'd you like to go to Sierra Leone and watch the final round of tetanus immunizations given in that country so that they will have eliminated MNT? And I said, oh, that sounds interesting. Sierra Leone, isn't that where the Civil War was in 2002 and hands and legs were cut off? And she says, yeah. And I said, Sierra Leone, okay, Africa, okay. And then she mentioned it was over Thanksgiving. They don't celebrate Thanksgiving in Sierra Leone. And so if you know me at all, I am married to a gentleman who's about 20 years my senior, and he doesn't cook very well. And he looks forward to his turkey on Thanksgiving. And so I had to make Thanksgiving early. And then I had to make sure he had plenty of clean clothes to wear while I was gone, and a number of Hungry Man dinners in the freezer so that he wouldn't starve to death. And then I started my 34-hour journey to Freetown, Sierra Leone, which is the capital. When we got there, it was at night, and we were anxious to get started the next day. And the first thing we did is we went to the UNICEF offices where we got an orientation to find out what actually UNICEF does in these countries. And they only go into countries when they are invited, which was really amazing to me. They just don't go unless they know the government is going to help them with what they are trying to accomplish. And one of their goals was to accomplish MNT, eliminate MNT. And they told us that 70% of the people live below the poverty line of $1 a day, that the life expectancy is 42 years of age in that country, that the adult literacy rate is 35%. This one struck me. 1 out of 4 children doesn't make it to age 5. There are huge gender disparities between girls and boys, and it was an interesting story they told us in that when a girl gets pregnant, if she's in high school, she has to drop out of high school, but they also make her little boyfriend who impregnated her drop out of high school. However, when she has the baby, she cannot go back to high school, but the boyfriend can. And so girls, once they start becoming mothers, no longer have education available to them there. 62 of the girls are married by the time they're 18, 27% by the time they're 15. 94% of the girls undergo female mutilation. And we asked about that, because that was we weren't sure what we could ask and couldn't, and they said it was open to anything. It happens because they have a secret society of women who do the cutting. And it's very politically motivated. But they also said that in these remote villages, if a young girl escapes that procedure, she's ostracized and outcast from that village. And so she eventually just says, just do it so that I am accepted by my peers again. And so it's just a very, UNICEF is trying to turn that around also. 11% of the children in Sierra Leone are orphans, and only 47% of the population has availability to safe water. These are the statistics. They were showing us what we were going to do with the elimination of maternal and neo-natal tetanus. And they're thanking Kiwanians for all the work we're doing, raising $110 million to eliminate it in Sierra Leone. This is Dr. Mohimba. He is the head of the Sierra Leone office for UNICEF, very intelligent individual. And Jerry Cristiano is on the left. He's past our national president who was with us. That's Ann Epdegraff-Spleth, who is the COO of the foundation. And then the doctor's primarily responsible for eliminating maternal and neo-natal tetanus in Sierra Leone. The first stop we did, after 2 hours, they warned us about the roads. And I will tell you, they will swallow up Volkswagens. They were so bad. And we made it to the one government hospital, and here what they do is they educate the women on health practices, healthy pregnancies, going to hospitals to get your deliveries. But the important thing is that you have your immunization card with you at all times. This is their golden ticket, and this is how UNICEF really gets the program to work. All mothers and children under 5 get free health care as long as they can document that they've had their shots. Now, if they go to the doctor or the hospital and they don't have this card, they get a new one, and they have to go through the process, and they also get 3 more shots. So they're learning it's very important that this is their golden ticket to health care, and that their children must be safe. And these are the grounds of the hospital that we went into. This is the actual hospital, and you can see the malaria nets that are all over. And that's primarily what they are now treating in Sierra Leone is malaria, respiratory infections, and diarrhea. And they get excited if they get a case of tetanus that they think they've diagnosed, because they get on site right away and they check the immunization records of the mother to see when she got her shots to make sure that they were in a timely manner. And then they check the baby, and they haven't found a case of tetanus in over a year. So they're really excited, and they're hoping they never do. And these are some of the mothers and their babies at the hospital. This is my Thanksgiving here. UNICEF, in conjunction with a number of other health organizations, decided to have a Maternal and Child Health Week. And they were kicking it off by getting 6,000 volunteers to go by motorcycle, by car, by foot, by horse, by any means possible to the remote villages throughout Sierra Leone. And they got their syringes all ready to go. As you can see, they got the reports, the papers for them to go. And that is a solar-powered refrigerator that they put the tetanus toxoid in. And this is Dr. Nuhu, who's in charge of the elimination project there. And he's excited about theirs. They've got 148 what they call peripheral health units, which are like little mini hospitals for the people to go to. And they have 98 of these solar-powered refrigerators in those health units. And the vaccinators, what they're called, bring these with them to keep the tetanus vaccine cool, and that's what you can see what it's doing. And then here are the vaccinators, and they're being trained with what to do with the paperwork, and they're ready to hit the streets the next day when this is all going to happen. And so to make it a really big affair, they have a parade. And here, this little girl, she's wearing red velvet, and it was 90 degrees, and the humidity must have been 110 that day. But she was so proud to be in the parade. And they're little schoolgirls, and if you go, whatever school you go to, you wear a different uniform. And so they were getting ready for the parade. And we had a band, and nurses, and a clown, and then guess what, here we come. And we had a banner, and we're waving, and we probably walked about a mile, and we're waving through the streets, and I'll introduce you to these people. But I went by the diamond place, and everybody who knows me knows I like bling, but I didn't think I wanted to buy a diamond there. Then we started walking into a stadium, and this really struck me, that the prosthetic, like a booth, like a Kiwanis booth we have, just out in the open selling them. And here we are, we're being recognized, we're in seats of honor for this project. They had everybody, including the dog catcher, speak about the great things happening with Maternal and Neo-natal Tetanus. This is Ann, our COO. Then we went to the schools. And all the girls from age 12 on up get immunized, because really the average age of marriage in Sierra Leone is about 14. And so they register and they keep, what amazed me is the amount of record keeping that they have to track. UNICEF knows where every vial of tetanus toxoid is. They know who has been immunized, and they know when that person was immunized. And they keep records, and they don't have computers. But somehow they get the information back to Freetown, Sierra Leone, and then they can compile the data, which they give back to Kiwanis and the Kiwanis International Foundation. And here's the record of the girls getting their shots. And it was fun. We decided we'd hold the hands on some of the girls because they looked a little afraid. And we'd hold them. And this little girl fainted into Anne's arms. Thank goodness she was there. But we had a few drama queens along the way, which made it fun. And some were very brave. This is one of the peripheral health units that we went to. And they were so excited because they have a birthing unit in it. And I looked at this birthing unit. She's talking about it, how excited she is. The next slide will show you. This is where they give birth. And I'm standing in there looking. It's not bigger than a walk-in closet, but there's not a light bulb. It's just dark. But they have the material, the forceps and everything they need to deliver a baby, and they never had that before, and they were very excited. And this mother, she was the reason they may have flunked eliminating maternal and neonatal tetanus, but it turned out her baby was just sick with colic or something, and the baby survived and did not have tetanus. And so Sierra Leone is still tetanus-free at this point that we know of. So we went along the roads, and these are some of the sites we saw along the way, as we're now going into a remote village of Salia. And we got into this village, and there's 5 SUVs of white Americans coming, and we just want to go grab these little babies and hug them and let them know that we love them. And they'd see us and they'd scream and run the other direction. And we're like, oh, we're just friendly people, you know. I'm a big redhead with big fingernails. I taught them the hokey pokey, finally. But it turned out that when the children were little, like toddler age, their parents, to discipline them, would say, if you do not behave, I'm going to send you to live with white people. No wonder they were afraid. Then as we went through the village to meet the people, we went door to door, house to house, and the UNICEF volunteers wanted to be sure that they saw every member of the family there, and if they didn't, they would write on chalk that that person wasn't there, so the next round that they go through, they would look at that individual and see if they were healthy and look at their cards that they had. And if they suspected a girl or a woman was pregnant, they'd send her to the clinic to make sure that her immunizations were up to date so her baby would not die of tetanus. They went around and they gave pills, vitamin A pills, and deworming pills for the kids, and these were provided by the Helen Keller Institute. They would measure the children's arms to see the rate of growth that these children were having. And if it was in the green area, they knew the child was progressing well, but if it was in the red area, they knew that they had to do some medical intervention to make sure the child would be healthy. And they'd come up to us, because we are white, and they'd rub our hands, you know, our skin, to see if it rubbed off. They didn't know about that. And they'd feel my hair, because they had never felt straight hair before. And they'd look at we'd take pictures of them, and we'd show them the pictures, and they would just giggle and smile because they had never seen pictures of themselves. They didn't even have mirrors. They didn't even know what they looked like in a mirror. So they had a great time, and you can see their living conditions. And 60% of women in developing countries give birth on dirt floors just like this. And that's where the tetanus is. But they've got the malaria nets, and a lot of those are from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who also helped fund our efforts with maternal and neonatal tetanus. So here is the gentleman marking on the door, and it was just amazing. The children were so wonderful, and the mothers were just amazing to me. And what they would do is when we went to the clinic, they would bring the mothers in by 3 to check their immunization cards and then update their boosters, because they were giving the final round of tetanus in this village. And these 3 ladies, I was sitting there for a while, and these 3 ladies came up and sat just much like this. And this one girl was a teenager, and she was just crying and scared and worried. And I said to her, does she know why she's getting a shot? And she shook. To the interpreter, I said, please tell her that it's to prevent her baby from dying within 7 days from tetanus. And the fear just disappeared from this girl's face, and kind of a smile came on it. The woman to the right of her was older, probably in her late 20s, early 30s. And she asked the interpreter something, and the interpreter nodded yes, and the woman just jumped out of her chair, came over to me and said, thank you, and hugged me. And it was because the interpreter told her that I was a Kiwanian, and that we were the ones paying for these vaccinations. And then the lady on the left of her was sitting very straight, and Dr. Nuhu, who was with us, asked her what she was doing. And she says, I'm being stiff like tetanus. And so you knew these 2 women had seen a tetanus death in their life. And they had witnessed it. And some of us were able to meet a woman who had lost 2 of her 4 children to tetanus, which is quite amazing. And so you can see what they're doing. Now these are my counterparts. Here's Anne, she got to hold a baby. This is John Mayfield, he's from Tennessee. He's another one that has saved 55,000 lives. This is Sophia, she's a member of Key Club. She's the granddaughter of the Cristianos, who you will see next. There's Linda Cristiano, Jerry Cristiano, and there's John again. We'll just stay on John for a minute. This guy is just passionate about maternal and neonatal tetanus. And they approached him to be a lead gift donor of $100,000. And without a question, he said yeah. And he knew he was coming to Africa. He's a little older than I am. He's never been married. And he's never held a child. And he said, I know I gotta learn to hold a child. So he went to a mall in Nashville, where he lives. He saw a mother holding a child. He goes into his wallet and gives her $10 and says, can I hold your baby? Yeah, right. And she politely declined. But he did hold a 4-year-old, I believe, finally at the time. But that's John, and if you go to New Orleans, you'll meet him because he will give everyone his card because he doesn't know a stranger in the world. Okay. But here come our faces of hope and thanks. You know she's seen a lot in her lifetime, and that's her grandchild. You can see the pregnant woman in the back. But this is Sierra Leone's future. And these are the faces of the people whose lives we are saving by donating to Eliminate. I want to tell you that I am so thankful and so grateful for paved roads and highways. I am grateful for clean hotel rooms that I don't need mosquito netting. I am grateful for a clean bathroom. I am grateful for a clean bathroom with toilet paper. I am so thankful that we have the health care services we do and maternity wards. I am grateful by the stroke of God's pen that I was born on this side of the world. I am grateful and thankful that I am a Kiwanian and able to be part of a service project. I am most grateful and thankful that my husband and I were able to save over 55,000 lives by giving to this wonderful project. Thank you.